Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Jonathan, and welcome back to Money Talks. So today I want to give you a little bit of update about this next upcoming stimulus in the coming week. If this is your first time joining me here on the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. So there's been a lot of talk about the next stimulus, but I want to go ahead and take you into what are the three focus areas that they're working on with this stimulus and what are some of the challenges that they have. Again, I'm not a, I don't really talk about the politics and things of that nature, but I do think it's important for us to understand the concerns and because we're all in this situation together, how that really paints a point of conflict and struggle as far as making sure this next stimulus goes and pass. And then understand the framework under which most people are working. So the first thing I want you to understand is what are they actually focused on in this new stimulus? So just last week, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi kind of did an interview, and I'll link that in the description box below. But she talks about how this particular round is a little bit different. But she also points out some of the similarities. So the top three things that they're focused on as far as this next stimulus is making sure they compensate those essential workers like nurses, like teachers, policemen, firefighters, things of that nature. Understanding that they've had to put in a lot of extra work and a lot of structure to keep some of our pieces of our most important essential pieces of our economy going. But then understand the fact that in the case of teachers and things of that nature, their compensation might be actually leaving over the next few months. So how can we make sure we compensate them accordingly for the due diligence of work that they've done? The second piece, which really is the key trigger to all of this point, is healthcare, and specifically the testing. It's most important to understand how to get testing in people's hands, how to get everyone tested, and not incur a lot of healthcare costs to that individual in this particular time. The testing is most important because that's the best way we'll be able to solve the issue of the coronavirus as well as understand what can be done to move us forward. Because again, there's still not a cure out, so until they do proper testing, this is going to be a vital, essential piece going forward as we try to work back into opening the economy and moving forward. And then lastly, direct payments. It's no big secret or no big surprise. A lot of the stimulus talk has been about the direct payments to individuals, people who've lost their income, people who may be on unemployment, people who are unemployed but can't receive unemployment. Understanding that getting payments into the hands of Americans is a vital piece for us to be able to survive as an economy and as a country going forward. Now, though these things seem very, very general, these are the three areas where she kind of pointed out that it might be most essential, and these are the most urgent nature. And that's where, again, they have no issue from what you may hear as a bipartisan, either Democrat or Republican. That's where they all agree. Where they disagree, and as I start to move forward to help you understand the challenges, that's the piece that kind of gets a little hazy. And again, I can share my thoughts, but I'm just a guy on the internet, right? Now, the number one challenge that they've had in this process of trying to build this package is the SNAP food stamp program. But she also mentioned that that's been a problem regardless. But the biggest fact is 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5 children don't necessarily understand where their next meal is coming from. And when you think about how we're considered one of the greatest countries in the world, that's very disturbing as to understand that a child doesn't understand children are not being fed. And that was one of the biggest pieces of her interview. And what I've seen throughout this piece is the urgency of getting those payments in there and how can we use our resources to go and help every single American as much as possible, our main core, that middle class. But the next piece I also thought was interesting was taxes. Now, a lot of things that come about this piece of direct payments and stimulus, there are some people, not named specifically, but one of the challenges is some Republicans think would like to see uh, I guess you could say, a discount on taxes, capital gains tax or the payroll tax, specifically is what the president had mentioned. And the biggest, most difficult piece of that process is understanding that the House just doesn't see that as urgent. So the urgency of getting payments in the Americans' hands, getting the testing done, things of that nature. So that's where the conflict begins, and really kind of keeps a challenge. And I think that's one of those things that not necessarily will hold, but it kind of stalls the progress of the next stimulus. The last piece is there's some people that simply think we need to wait a little bit longer before releasing a new stimulus. And while timing can be helpful as far as if you're able to take more time, you can make a better, wise decision. But you also have to understand the urgency matter of what's going on. And Senator Pelosi did point out what I think is a valid comment. People are dying. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their livelihoods. It's a lot of things coming out. So we don't necessarily always have the time to where you can actually move forward. But again, I'm just a guy on the internet. What I will say is all of these points are valid. And I think the biggest point that most recently put us in the stall as far as the next stimulus is the fact that some people of the House have contracted the virus. So really putting plans and procedures in place, which they have done now to create an opportunity to where those people who will be missing can still vote. And that's remarkable that even under the heading that some of their custodians and people who operate the House and the Senate and all those different things, there's a lot of different factors of how people making that place safe and really creating an environment where a vote can still come. It's a lot of effort being taken on both parties, but especially those parties who have contracted the virus. They're still creating measures where they can send their vote in remotely to actually get things moving. And again, all of those people should be commended for that. But most importantly, you should realize the biggest difference between this stimulus package and the CARE Act that was passed about a month and a half ago, can't believe it's been that long, but the biggest thing is they're looking at things from a state and local government. Now, what makes that so different from the last time? Because the last time it was state and local. Well, this time they're looking at each piece separately. State on one side, local. How can they fund both pieces? In the CARES Act, the original CARES Act with the $1,200 stimulus and all those different packages, they grouped them together. And so it kind of limited their view on what things are going. That's why this next package is expected to be larger, and you're going to see numbers that are larger than you did before because of how they look to fund both sides. I hope this information is helpful. And again, if you have a moment, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And I'm going to link that interview in the description below. But it's most valuable for you if you understand what factors are being considered. That helps you set the right expectations for what you can expect for yourself and how you can make a better decision. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.